maybe we play video one and two. We play all like this. No, screw it. Just play all. So basically everything we play two times. Good, right? We play all. So one, three, two, one, two, three. Okay. So you let everyone in. Okay. So you need me? If you need me, right? You tell them to intercom. Is there extra intercom? Oh. Okay, no worries. Thank you. No.
right, good morning everyone here on ground, and also good morning to those of you online, and thank you for joining us today for this special event. My name is Myra Baiti and I will be your MC for today. I am very happy to welcome all of you to the fourth series of the Bake and Make Hybrid Seminar by Kuali Bakers. Thank you. Just to give you a little bit of a background, Kuali Bakers is a digital community created by Kuali and Anchor food professionals since 2020 to empower small enterprises and home bakers such as yourselves to help you grow businesses and make your mark in the baking industry. Through the Kuali Bakers program, we hope to help aspiring bakers unleash their full potential. And it's more than just a platform where you can get baking tips and ideas. It is also a tightly knit community that follows each other on our baking journey. So once again, everyone, to all those members in the community, thank you so much for joining us. Give yourself a round of applause. Woo! We have some amazing speakers with us today. And in a short while, these renowned entrepreneurs will be sharing with you their tips, entrepreneurial advice, and feedback on their own journeys. I would like to take this time to thank Anchor Food Professionals, Malaysia and Brunei, as this workshop would not have been possible without them. So just one more time, a round of applause. Anchor Food Professionals Malaysia and Brunei has been creating high quality, fit for purpose products and solutions for food service professionals around the world to build a suit your business needs and satisfy your consumer tastes. They work behind the scenes to deliver exciting new tastes and products for chefs, bakers, caterers, hotels, restaurants, cafes, and more. All right, before we hear from our first speaker, there's just a little bit of housekeeping matters that we need to deal with. A gentle reminder to everyone to please adhere to the SOP by KKM. Make sure that your masks are on at all times unless you are eating or drinking. So for those of you here in the physical location, just remember, if you have your mask, just whip it out. All right, thank you so much. And also, please silence your devices throughout the event. We don't want to have any boogie songs in the middle of filming. However, that would be very entertaining, but don't listen to me. Silence the phone. Thank you so much. For those of us joining online, if you have any questions for our panelists, please write them on the chat box or in the social media comment box. And if you encounter any difficulty, please chat with the events crew at events@thestar.com. And for those of you in the audience, if you do have any questions during the panel discussion, if we have time, we will have a Q&A at the end of the panel discussion and you can ask your questions there. We also appreciate your patience and understanding for any technical glitches that might occur during this hybrid event. On the bright side, we have some good news. You have some goodie bags for all of those who are attending here today. At the end of the session, you will fill up a feedback form and then you can collect your goodie bag after lunch. You can head back down to the registration desk and show it to the crew and collect your goodie bag before leaving. And aside from that, for those of you who are at home, we also have something for you. The first 150 attendees, online attendees, to fill up the feedback form will receive exclusive vouchers from us. So please do stay tuned until the end. To begin today's session, I would like to introduce our opening address speaker in Anchor Food Professionals. He leads the entire food service division to deliver superior dairy solutions to thousands of bakeries, hotels, restaurants, cafes across Malaysia and Brunei. It gives me great pleasure to welcome Jack Tan, the General Manager of Food Services Southeast Asia for Anchor Food Professionals.
We are Anchor Food Professionals, one of the world's leading dairy food service companies and part of the New Zealand-based Fonterra Cooperative made up of 10,000 farming families. We've been creating dairy goodness as nature intended for 150 years and will continue to do so for many more to come. In New Zealand, our cows graze on lush green grass with fresh air, plenty of rainfall and abundant sunshine. A more natural farming system combined with the care we give to the environment means we have one of the lowest on-farm carbon footprints in the world. Now, more than ever, sustainability is hugely important. Your customers care about the origin of the products they're consuming and their impact on the environment, animals, and society. The genuine care of our dedicated New Zealand farmers makes our cows amongst the best cared for cows in the world. Our own grass-fed and cared for cows standards are independently certified each year. We believe our cows' way of living makes them happy, contributing to the nutritious and delicious milk they produce. Sustainable dairying is at the heart of how we farm in New Zealand, helping create the high-quality milk our customers know and love. Our high-performing products are used to create inspiring recipes that delight consumers all around the world. Our collaborative approach, rich dairy history, and anchor expertise gives you the assurance that our products are designed for high-quality performance, and that our New Zealand dairy is made with care for the land, people, and animals. When care meets performance, that's where the goodness happens. It's why we're here, serving up inspiration every day.
To begin for today, I just want to say a big thank you to the Star Media Group. As I always say, the partnership between Anchor and Star Media Group, in particular with Kuali, really focusing on the three fundamental principles of why we are here building this together. Number one, inform. How can we build education and really build more information sharing and collaboration amongst the community? Number two, inspire. How are we able to really inspire better performance, better collaboration, and most important, really supporting each and every businesses to be more successful together? And lastly, innovate. Innovation, it's really at the heart of what we do, particularly in the world of food service. As much as we eat day in, day out, the moment we fail to innovate, we already become backwards in a different way. With these three principles in mind, the collaboration between Anchor Food Professionals and Kuali, in partnership with Star Media Group, unleash the potential of why we are here today. In Kuali Make and Bake, we started off the journey 3 years ago, predominantly focusing on bakery or home bakers. Just a show of hands, how many home bakers are here in the hall? Okay, a fair bit of you guys. How many business owners, entrepreneurs, potential new businesses? Any new potential new businesses? Great. And this is exact the purpose of why we are here today. Not just about selling milk and product and cheese and cream cheese to each and every of you, but the key purpose of building the community for us to unleash the potential together. So on the 20th of October, anybody know what's that day? It is International Chef Day. So for those that cook, whether you bake or you cook back of house or even front of house, right? Everybody please give yourself a pat on the back. Because other than being a parenthood, okay, of course, parent is still the toughest job in the world. Becoming a chef in the back of house is probably one of those most underappreciated role, because you typically get complaints, but when it's really, really good, you don't get the thanks. And ultimately, you have to face all the challenges of labor, rising costs, and most importantly, the different profitability and the macro challenges like inflation, salary wages, and so on and so forth. A very big thanks to each and every of you, because you guys are the reason why we exist here in Anchor Food Professionals. It is very important for us to take note of that, and because that is what makes us unique and special about us running this part of the business. Starting off about 3 years ago, we have started off with education, sharing recipe, AI camera, and so on and so forth, running different online and offline events. But right now, after the post-pandemic, or let's call it the new normal, it is not enough just to know how to start a business. Driving business continuity and driving business sustainability is equally as important. Because in the world of food service, there is many trends, whether it's the bubble tea trend, the burnt cheesecake trend, the pastry, croissant trend, and so on and so forth. There is usually a different wave and a different trend that lasts typically between 3 and, if we're lucky, 18 months. Hence, one of the key things that we do as a community and of course as an industry is to constantly help each other and hopefully inspire, challenge, and most important, to co-create what we do. There is no doubt running a business in terms of driving business sustainability and business continuity, many challenges will come ahead. And I'm not here to tell you it's going to become easier. As a matter of fact, it is going to be a more uphill battle. But in every challenges lies the opportunity. It is always very important to note that regardless of a good economy or a bad economy, people have to eat. Food is something that unites each and every Malaysian, each and every people, each and every family, and many more. Food is one of those unique things where it is not just about filling up the tummies, but most importantly, potentially creating different memories together. Whether it's a birthday cake for your 12th birthday, I wouldn't want to say 1-year-old birthday because typically they forget, right? But I would say 12 years old, 18 years old, 21 is very important for different milestones of life. It can be also a graduation, a parent's birthday, a celebration for your new job, or sometimes a celebration of changing a new job, and so on and so forth. Food is usually the catalyst of what we brings different individuals together, and each and every of you, regardless of whether you are doing a macaron or are you doing a pastry, a cake, a pasta, pizza, and so on and so forth, is super important because we play a different role, literally 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and we never go off. And the beauty part about F&B is that the industry is actually quite forgiving and most importantly, supporting each other to make each other better, stronger, and most importantly, really driving the different performance within the business. In the next few hours, or next 2 hours, the key focus is really showcasing that we are here as Anchor Food Professional to support in collaboration with Star Media Group and Kuali on sharing different topics on business continuity and business sustainability. And the whole topic and idea, which is great, is really bringing 2 different segments of the industry, which is the startups and also some well-known players as well. One of our Malaysian best favorite Malaysian celebrity, Mr. Sherson, right? Really joining us to share really the wide scope, because it's not just about starting a business, but what makes a show last for, just now I heard it correctly, 24 seasons, right? And I literally also grew up watching his shows since young. But beyond just about sharing on inspiration and ideation, the understanding of running a startup with different sets of challenges and an established business or even an academy like APCA also have different voices within the industry, but most important, different insights of what we can do differently. And most importantly, what can we learn to deploy? Because don't take these next 2 hours just like another talk. Don't take these next 2 hours just like another speech. Most important, as we engage, as we share, ask yourself one question. What is that one thing I can do differently after this talk? And in the spirit of continuous improvement, or if I use the Star Media term, innovate. The moment we continuously become 1% better or more innovation every single day, that's where we will become successful. And we always say in the industry is that tough times don't last, tough businesses do. So once again, a very big thank you for each and every of you for being here. And most importantly, supporting Anchor all these years. We have been around for over 150 years, within Malaysia, approximately 46 years to 47 and counting. And we are planning to support for the years to come, not just in supplying the good quality dairy from around the world, particularly from New Zealand, from our famous grass to your plate, but most important, becoming your business partner to unleash the potential, whether you are a home baker, you are a pasta company, pizza company, or a fine dining restaurant. And we are here to support you every journey along the way. Thank you.
We are Anchor Food Professionals. one of the world's leading dairy food service companies and part of the New Zealand-based cooperative Fonterra. Our food service passion and expertise is global. We strive every day to provide food professionals around the world the ingredients for success that come from our innovative dairy and business know-how. With over 100 years of anchored dairy expertise behind us, we're focused on designing the highest quality dairy products for each and every customer and their needs. Quality and product performance always comes first, but we know that how our products are used differs for local tastes and food styles. We understand these varying needs because of our on-the-ground experience in over 50 markets. That's our global expertise and local insight in action, finding the best solution for you, your kitchens, and your customers, delighting them with the tastes, appearances, and textures they love. Our hero product range comes from New Zealand with the classic dairy taste, style, and quality you expect. We complement this with a selection of quality dairy products made in other countries, offering you a portfolio of choices in style and functionality to meet your needs. Our European-style creams offer a lighter colour and flavour. Just one example of how we create the perfect choices for you and your customers. Of course, wherever our products come from, they're produced to our world-class quality standards. We're proud to work with chefs and business partners across the globe, shoulder to shoulder in their kitchens. It's how we make sure we're always offering what you need to grow your business and delight your customers. That means you can have confidence we'll always deliver innovative solutions, outstanding services, and inspirational products that are tailored to the styles and tastes that you and your customers seek. It's why we're here, serving up inspiration every day.
Thank you so much once again to Jack Tan for that speech. I loved the part where he talked about innovation. And I think for our next panel after this, that is what we are going to be addressing. How the established businesses were produced to meet the need in markets. The recent pandemic has spun out many new home bakers as well as professionally trained entrepreneurs who are either professionally trained or home trained, and cooking and baking has become a new picked up hobby for many. And for some, it has become a source of their sole income. And the business is a serious business, as Jack has mentioned earlier. It is something, the most important thing to do is to think about business continuity, which is how to keep your essential functions in your business up and running even during a disaster, and to recover with as little downtime as possible. And there are sometimes things that are very unpredictable that happen, such as disasters, fires, disease outbreaks, cyber attacks, and a whole load of other things as well. So we're going to discuss a little bit about that in our panel session after this. So without further ado, let's dive in. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to our first speaker. Chef Lim Chin Kheng is the executive pastry chef of APCA, a boutique college offering full-time diplomas and part-time certificate courses in baking and culinary arts. Chef Lim has been involved with the business for 8 years and has a great interest in nurturing talent and entrepreneurs in the food service industry. Welcome, Chef Lim. All right, take a seat, Chef. Now, our next speaker is Arieni, the founder of Gula Cakery. Gula Cakery was first launched as Gula Bakery, which then morphed into Gula Cakery after 2 years of being established. She first taught herself how to bake and to cook as a teenager with her grandmother's recipe book. So I'd like to welcome Arieni. And last but not least, we have Syed Adam, the head of business development for Pasta Panas. the one in charge of bringing the well-known name of Pasta Panas to Malaysia by bringing up the partnership with Petronas Dagangan Berhad in launching Pasta Panas's container-style outlets at selected Petronas stations nationwide. Welcome, Syed Adam. All right, wonderful. Thank you. Firstly, how do you all feel being here today with this crowd?
Excited to share
Yeah.
our experience.
Wonderful. And you, what about you?
I'm okay.
Relaxed?
Excited because the first time. And
Okay.
then for me, don't have the traffic problem because I ride motorcycles. It's no problem for me for the traffic. Very smooth.
That's wonderful. Did anyone here had issues with traffic? If you do, just raise your hand. Yes? Yes. Yeah, it's horrible. I think you had some issues this morning, right?
Yeah, a lot of issues with traffic as usual. Yeah, I think federal was, federal's federal.
No, I understand. Actually, I think one of the things that we want to talk about today is about how to maintain quality standards and great customer experience, right? So I wanted to ask, Chef Lim on this, right? How do we strike the right balance between creating that offline experience and also the online delivery services in the market?
Okay. About the quality standard, okay, for sure. We went to the restaurant or dining, or maybe we order online. We also need the best quality of the food. So how we maintain? First thing, okay, we can form internals. We can start from the kitchens, okay? We can do in the downtime or maybe even busy time, we also need to go through the kitchen. We can reformat. I said reformat, which is we can reconsider as a leader or maybe the chef. We can ask the reformat the kitchen, how to make the job or maybe the working efficient and then hygiene. And we can serve the food very safe food to the customer and then maintain the quality, use a fine ingredient to improve our quality so that it will help to sustain our business and also continuously to get the best experience or maybe inspire the new customers.
So that's quite a lot about like the online process. How do we kind of make that transition that smoothly into, the delivery services?
Okay. For the marketing wise, I will say that, yeah, we need to have the, okay, close by. Okay, we have to come out something like, we can do the marketing for the online, for Insta or Facebook, because the majority 15 years old to 30 years old, normally every day we will scroll the Facebook or maybe Instagram. So the information there is very important. So if you have the business, you need to show the customer what you have. What's your key? What is the customer want to go to your shop or maybe your restaurant to dine inside or maybe order from the online. Okay, must be have something to attract people. Like some of the Malaysian is very good one. We localize for example, myself, I'm doing bakery. Okay. I would like to use the Malaysian ingredients like Gula Melaka, pandan, or maybe we say something like ginger flower. I think attract the customer to have the things like, for example, last year I have the one innovation with the anchor. We do the products, which is during Lian time. I come out some product like the pengat pisang with the infant pastry style. Like people will be say, "Oi, pengat pisang normally is a bubo during the puasa times." Okay, so I need to put the sagu, I need to put gula melaka, I need to put the coconut inside and then combine together with the fan pastry. How to attract people? Oh, Chef Lim got something special. Okay, we have something special to attract customer. People would like to taste it, and maybe we can say we localize the product. We make a comfort food for Malaysian. So it'll improve your business, also will attract the new customer generation to your shops, or maybe.
That is true. I am definitely one of those people who fall for that. Anything with durian inside, I am there, right? So speaking of, I think in terms of delivery services, right? I think Pasta Panas, you've thought quite a lot about this, right? In terms of your business model as well.
Yeah, so I think relating back to striking the balance between offline and online. So I think for Pasta Panas, I think we sort of started off with the online delivery service, which was our main revenue. So I think before COVID, our goal was to provide a different kind of experience rather than just having delivery, as well as we wanted to promote dine-in. Hence why we launched our flagship outlet, which sort of changed the experience of Pasta Panas on how to dine in. So I think for us, what challenge we faced was COVID lah. I think, unfortunately for us, I think for everyone, COVID hit us at quite an unprecedented time. So I think it was trying to overcome the challenge of having to gain back that offline, experience for the customers post-COVID. Like now, I think we're at a stage where we recover from the online. So I think it's very important to understand that. I think for me, as a business owner and as a customer, I'm a sucker for promos, especially with in-store promos. So I think those are kind of key takeaways and key things that people need to understand and to leverage on in order to get higher offline revenue. Yeah.
Amazing. That's amazing. And you're right, actually. I think vouchers, free things, goodie bags are a really good way to get people interested in your product. I think in terms of I think that probably answers the question of integration between online and offline. But I know that there is this constant issue also, especially with the pandemic and a lot of these fluctuations that we see in our current market with suppliers. Right. So there's issues getting what we need, in the volumes that we need. And so I'm quite curious to ask Arieni this question, but feel free as well, anyone to add in, because I think this is an issue that we all face. We want to talk about what is the integral role and dependence on suppliers, right? In terms of aiding in F&B operations, right? Are there any tips in which you can share that can help us, respect that integral part or make it more efficient?
Hi, Assalamualaikum semua. All right, so let's talk about suppliers. So of course, for me, myself, I started from a home baker when I was 21 years old. So that was 10 years ago at home when I did not have any suppliers. I go out to the supermarket to get flour, you want to get butter, you go to the supermarket and you don't know what costing is all about back then, because you just wanted to sell. So I think 11 years down the experience, and of course, why do we need suppliers? Why is it so important? Of course, because in F&B, what we need to do is of course costing. So costing is really, really important. If you want to do something, what I have to do is you sit down and you got to write down how many grams, and the SOPs are very, very important, especially recipes. I created my recipe book. It took me so many years to just have a booklet that you write down the recipes, what are the suppliers for. And why do we need suppliers? It's because you got to make sure your operations are smooth, without having a supplier that could support us, to be honest. We need to have a good relationship with suppliers. Of course, when you're cooking, in a restaurant or even at home, when you get a supplier that could supply to you, that could communicate with you and keep the stocks for you, and you have a good relationship with them, and you know that what you're using. So my tip is, when I was buying all the brands or any brands, in fact, I would just go to the packaging. I go right behind it. Okay, who's the distributor? I'm just going to call them, but you need to have the numbers, of course. So when I started with only one outlet, of course, it's difficult to get a good, to get a supplier to be able to send it over to you. So that is a struggle that we face actually. And I think it was only last year that I managed to get, suppliers and tell me, okay, I need 1 lorry of cream cheese, for example. But if you don't have the numbers, you need to write down why is it important. What are suppliers that could really help you? At the end of the day, if you're at home baking, you need to have your pricing, of course, you need to have your price. How much is your cheese? And if you can't get a bigger supplier, of course, you will go to a normal bakery shop to get your supplies. You still do your costing and you know what is good. And for me, when you get a supplier, you know that the cost for a food cost, it should be at 30%. 30%, it's quite on a general point is quite good for us. So apart from it smoothes our operations, and you can also collaborate with suppliers, you know, when after down the road, what a supplier does to me as well as an entrepreneur or a business owner, I could collaborate with them, you know, and do something to use their product. And it's a win-win situation on social media as well. You know, imagine if you were to cook at home or like in a restaurant, you'd have to go out to the supermarket to get your things, and you're just going to waste time. And I feel that's a very crucial role for us to know that when you want to start something, you're going to know where your product's from, who are the suppliers, talk to them, contact them, and, you know, get your numbers there so that you can also make them believe that, hey, we're going to be long-term partners, you know what I mean? Like getting the right partners for you to grow your business. So I think that's very, very important.
All right, thank you so much for that. I think I would like to open that question as well to both Chef Lim and Syed Adam as well. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree because I think it's having a supplier is as important as supplier having a customer as well. So I think to Jack, I think Anchor is not an unfamiliar name. So we actually use Anchor. So yeah, I mean, it's very important, as she was saying, that costing is such a huge determining factor in the business, especially in F&B, you know, like she was saying, the cost is about 30%. It's about healthy amounts, so 30 to 40%. So it's very important as you grow, you know, the bigger you are, it's important to leverage and understand a lot of, you know, opportunities you have in terms of suppliers to narrow down your cost for a healthy margin. Yeah.
I see. What about Chef Lim?
For my side, okay, for APCA, which is a college, okay, we always work together with the ankles. Okay, they provide a very good service for us. And they have also sponsor our cream, and then we're very satisfied with the products. For me, for supplier side, we hope that, I think during the MCO, we have around 1 or 2 years like that, downtimes, okay. So maybe supplier can provide a more solution for us to get the, for example, home baker or maybe the small business. They can provide a more option to get the product from them. Yeah, I know every supplier have the small amount, a certain amount they will deliver to you. If I just need to buy about 10 kilo of cream cheese, maybe they won't Lian me. But it's okay. Maybe they can go more on detail, online retail to sell their products. So even the home baker, they want to choose your product, also maybe got a chance to get it very easily.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. I think you mentioned something quite interesting about, you know, suppliers and volume, right? The amount in which you sort of order. I think I kind of want to build on that and also ask Arieni, when you first started out, right? Was that a challenge for you in terms of, you know, volume, and as you were growing in terms of getting that volume from your suppliers, and how did you manage that transition?
Yes, of course. So of course, that's a really big issue because, to be honest, even last 2 years when I was trying to contact suppliers and whatnot, the challenge is like, they'll be like, oh, sorry, that's not enough for us to deliver to you. So I say, it's okay, I can go pick it up. You know, like, it's fine. I'll go and pick it up at your place. You know, we find solutions, you know. So I think from there, you build a rapport. People say that you start small, you know, we can't suddenly like, I want that supplier right now. To me, for example, you know, going straight to Anchor, for example, like, okay, I need this much. So I think it's all about progressing. And of course, even with a smaller supplier, you can also get a good price actually if you were to buy in a bigger packaging, not just in a smaller size. So I think it's all about understanding how much you need and your planning. So it goes back to planning. You know, if you get a smaller quantity, you might spend because you want to keep your stocks for a week. But as you know, cream cheese or even flour, how long can you keep the items? And if you can keep it for a month, you can just have a storage that you could buy more in order to get a better price. So it's all about like, it's something like a chicken and egg situation. Like, you know that, okay, to get this good price, you need a good warehouse, for example. So getting the warehouse is just getting like, you know, just shelvings and probably just an extra chiller or just an extra freezer just to keep your items. So I think it's not just about like, hey, I want this much, you know, it's about you plan whether if this item can be kept for 2 months, so you can get that amount, you know, and if you think that item, you know, probably the shelf life isn't long, then you could order that much, but you can cover it up with probably the dry items or the wet items and things like that. So I think even if it's a challenge before this, it's all about how you plan and what you need that you can come up with. Like, you know, every time when you're an entrepreneur, we need to know, we need to do paperwork. So I think that's very, very important. We need to write down what we need. What was our sales last month? How do we improve our sales? So for example, we want to get that supplier to give us this much amount. So what kind of promotions can we do? So it goes back to what are we selling? What are the flavors that we're doing? And how can we turn to different flavors from just one ingredient? So I think there's a lot of ways and techniques that we can do in order to get a good supplier and a good relationship and also good product.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think that's quite helpful as well for those who are coming up and then about to scale up, in that awkward growing age stage moment.
It's really challenging because the pricing are increasing all the time. And
especially
so we
now.
got to play around with the volume. We got to know what are the flavors and how much can we put in. So I think measurements are very important. As a baker, you got to know your measurements. You got to have your weighing scale ready all the time for you to know what you need and what you don't need and how can you plan and also communicate with your suppliers. I think because suppliers will be asking you like, okay, how much do you need? And you'll be like, let me do the calculation and things like that. So I think planning is very, very important.
Yeah, because then you'll increase the efficiency in which you can communicate to your suppliers as well.
It can actually help you, it's not just about we telling what we need. The suppliers, even the distributors, they're all really, really nice trying to ensure that all business, because we need each other. So I think small or big, they know that the potential in even a home baker can go, I started with just at home and now I have 13 outlets that I run. So I think the relationship is still there. So I think it's a good start for us to just know the suppliers, even though we might not have them now, but we tell them, what, I'll contact you in 5 months time because I'll get the numbers for you.
I think that's lovely. I think sort of think about suppliers as your business buddy, I like that. And I guess it's handy if you want to have any special ingredients for trendy like durian cakes or, Gula apong cakes.
Then you get the durian supplier to like, hey, you know what? I have this promotion right now. Do you want to get it now? I'm like, yes, okay, get it.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, and also actually that's true because trends do come and go, and sometimes I guess it would be a challenge to also stock. So yeah, thank you for all those tips. But in terms of talking about trends on itself, right? So trends will always entice businesses to have a lot of variety in terms of order, sometimes to test out your order, right? And also to sustain the business or expand to a new target market. So in terms of that statement, right, Syed Adam, what do you think? Do you think that those are good ways to approach trends, or how would you think about trends in terms of food?
I think trends in general, it's quite common, and I think something that people should leverage on. So I think based on the experiences that I've actually faced, I think the company has faced is that with our orders, I think when you order, like for example, you order like aglio olio or carbonara, right? We have random orders saying, oh, I want my aglio olio plain with no parsley, no pepper. So it's just sometimes you kind of wonder who eats spaghetti without pepper and pastry. Just what, So yeah.
He takes just plain pasta.
So I think with that being said, there's a lot of things that over the years we've actually introduced to the community. For example, we have our own children's meal called Poco meal. So we have carbonara and mac and cheese. So what we do is we do carbonara and mac and cheese without the pepper. Yeah, so just the parsley. Yeah, because I think before we had that option, we had a lot of orders coming in with remarks saying, oh, saya nak order untuk anak saya. So tak nak pedas langsung, tak nak lada, tak nak apa. Kesian anak saya. So so having your staff tell you, oh, what am I supposed to do? I get remarks like this saying, oh, kesian anak saya. What if I accidentally put pepper, Will they come at me and say, oh, I told you don't put pepper, So I think there's a lot of things to eliminate along the way. And you have like those cases of healthy customers who want to eat plain spaghetti, plain pasta without beef. So yeah, so I think it's a learning process for us. I think for me, I think as well for Arieni, and it's the industry is a very adapting industry. We have customers who along the years they develop different taste buds, and yeah.
Yeah, I think that is something that is quite challenging, and I think constantly something you have to constantly evolve in as well. So I think do you have any stories on how you've had to go through that yourselves? We would love to share it with our wonderful community. So maybe Chef Lim or Arieni.
Okay, for myself, okay, about the trending side, okay. I will say that the chef must be always hungry with the new ideas, with the new products, okay? To attract, or maybe the inspire can be from the Instagram, from Facebook, for social medias, okay? You maybe can see from other country, what they all do the training now. Maybe will be influenced in the Malaysia here. We will develop it in future. Our customer maybe will understand it. So you must be have the always hunger with the new ideas and then come out something new. Maybe you say, oh, I have the muffin. What kind of muffin you're gonna to serve it? With Malaysia localized flavor or Europe style or American styles. It's up to you. And then what kind of ingredient you put inside? And then what kind of special ingredient you mix inside to attract the customer to buy it. I think also it's quite important for the inspiration and the idea you're supposed to go to your customers. What is the key point? Customer buy your things. Because nowadays you see a lot of hybrid dessert in the market, crofin, cronut, this kind of the item. I would like to say that even I don't do it, but I would like to try it because it's new thing. I will imagine how is the cronut, croissant with the cronut. Like lamination products like the croissant and then the Panas chocolate, this kind of thing. Now is the market trend. Okay, what you're gonna go through with another levels or maybe develop to the new products, because nowadays croissant and the lamination product is everywhere. Even the cafe, even any kind of area cafe, they also sell it. But what is the key? What is the specialty of your croissant to sell to each other? Maybe you put some filling inside. What kind of special filling? Maybe to attract more customer, and then people will think, hey, this shop is a bit special. I would like to revisit again.
All right, that's interesting. I think I have an idea for anyone here. As a person who studied in Sarawak for 4 years, when I come back here, this is something that I truly crave. Gula apong. It is the Sarawakian version of Gula Melaka. So if anybody is looking for like a trendy new, please, personal request, try it out. And then text me on Instagram, I'll come to your shop. All right. So Arieni, I think you wanted to share something earlier.
Story about donuts. So Bombolini was in trend 3 years ago. Was it 3 years or 4 years ago? So the filled donuts was such in trend that when I first started off, the queue was like massive up to like outside of my outlet. People were queuing up and I had to limit everyone to only get 2 donuts. And the funny story was my husband. So he went back of the counter and took 1 donut. When people were queuing up, it was super packed. He took 1 donut and we got so many comments on Instagram and said, siapa lelaki pakai baju kuning tu, dia ambil donut kat belakang, dia tak fikirkan kita orang yang beratur panjang sangat. I'm like, I told my husband like, what's wrong with you? Why did you take the donut? It was so limited. And I was like busting making my donuts, in the kitchen. We were making about 800 to 1,000 donuts in a day. The queue was like, people were like super crazy at that time. But right now, probably the craze has but there's a lot of outlets now that are also selling donuts. And at the end of the day, my son still looks for Dunkin' Donut because I think it's still nice, right? But, now in Italy, like all the filled donuts were in trend. But that was a really funny story when I remembered 3 years ago. I mean, everyone was looking for donuts. I was just like, wow, what's with these donuts? But, we started to go with it.
Yeah.
And then my husband just made that story and it became viral, like that baju lelaki, baju kuning. Yang ambil donut tu, siapa dia special sangat tu yang pergi belakang? He just took it off and just went off. And they were like, kenapa dia tak queue? So that was like a really, really funny story. And when you talk about trends, even I myself right now are doing croissants, and we are actually, there's a very healthy competition about croissants right now everywhere. And everyone is doing filled croissants. And croissants can't even last the next day if you fill them up. So, you got to know how to promote it and, doing all kinds of fillings. So I do all the, the hazelnut, Nutella, then you got the lemon, and then you got the vanilla, the strawberry, you name it, like all kinds of fruits. I just masuk dalam croissant tu, and you just sell. Because you know why? The palate for every customer is different, So some like chocolate. So if you're targeting for kids, you go with the chocolate. You want to target all like, probably like elderly, like my mom and whatnot. So you go with the raspberry, you go with the pistachio, and then you got like someone who likes like really light, not too heavy. So you go with the vanilla. So I think, following trends is always fun. And it's okay if you're not the first one to start it. Now everything is trending, but the Supreme croissant is a round one. It's in trend right now. It's also a filled one. It's super famous right now. And, so we can always start off something. And because you always get your loyal customers that likes you. So regardless of whatever that we do or you do, you still get your customers to buy from you, So you don't worry about, follow the trend. and just get your loyal customers to be with you and go with like the experience.
I love that. And I think that is interesting as well. Customers, consumers, being your family to support the new things that you do. And I think a lot of the times we do have to cater to our audience or to our customers. But I do want to address one last question to Chef Lim, is to what degree do you think that F&B establishments should do that, should cater to consumers, and especially during times where, there's not too many consumers, too many customers?
Okay. For me, for my opinions, okay. Maybe during this kind of down times, okay. Just now I have mentioned we can reformat the internals, and then another one is marketing. Okay. We can improve our marketing networks to sell our products. And then as a chef, you can, or maybe owner, or maybe the homemaker, you can reconsider everything that you have. You need to maintain the costing for your products to selling, and then the customer feeling, and then you need to have the finding the better quality of the products, maybe from the ingredients, and then do the develop for your products, like one product, how many texture inside, how is the color supposed to go, and then how to make it perfect. Like I have for example, croissant. How do I make it until the maximum to get it? Then only you sell. And then maybe another thing, you can do the training for your staff as a chef or maybe owner, or maybe you can hire the consultant to come to your shop to train your staff. At least your staff had a inspiration from the chef, or maybe the ideas, so that they will stay longer to work with you. Because in F&B, very straightforward, I tell you honestly, like I'm the pastry chef before. I want to train one staff every 3 months. From begin, 0 to understand everything. Like for example, glazed cake. They don't understand what is the temperature supposed to go. So you need time to train. So the staff now, I teaching a student now, they also tell me, Chef, we need inspiration. We need new thing. We need to learn a new skill, because it's very reality. We can say the new generation, they learn the skill very fast. Their brain is very good. They learn very fast, but they also very fast boring. You're every day asking to do the daily job, they will, oh no, after 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, I'm quit. I don't want already. So how you inspire them is one thing. They need a new item, new idea, new inspiration, or maybe the new chef to training them to get to stay with your business. So I think during that time, you can reformat your kitchen, you can retrain your staff, and then you also can fully focus on your marketing, how to promote your shop or maybe the bakery to sell your product. Okay. So, and then also concern the recipe. What kind of ingredients, what kind of fine ingredient you're supposed to add in, and then also reconsider your costing. Or maybe I can go more on the marketing, then I reduce the cost a bit, but I still can choose the good quality set. Maybe one day I can choose we can sell as much as possible will be good. But if you have the certain volume, sometimes marketing strategy also is good. It's limited. I will one day only 100 pieces.
Exclusive.
So exclusive, like premium. People will, start waiting, and then like that, like Miss Ariena shop for donut, queue for few hours. It's like crazy. So this one is the marketing, also is to attract the customer to go to your shop. Like last time I went to the shop of the shop selling the roll cake. They need a month to reserve. So this one is their product is very good. They're using the kampong egg, everything's fragrant very well. But one thing, you need to wait for 1 month. So I will say, I confirm need to wait because special things. So I think during that time, you can think about this kind of thing, how to attract the customer, and then also improve your internal external solution.
Beautiful. So your focus would be less to do with trends, but more to do with refining your internal workings
Yes.
of the restaurant and
Yes.
pushing forward in terms of marketing.
Yeah.
All right, that's wonderful. We're about to finish this session soon. However, before we go, just to leave everybody with like a last hurrah, is there one tip, if you could give one tip to an aspiring or a person, a baker or cook who's about to upskill, what would it be? Outside in from Syed Adam.
I think for an existing and an upcoming company or brand, I think it's important as an owner to understand that growth is not just a company. I mean, like, it's not just your own personal growth, but as well as the employees that you carry as well. Because I think with Pasta Panas, the team that we have now has been with us since for the past 6 years. So I think it's very important for you to invest time to understand your employees and to upskill your employees. Yeah. In order
Wonderful.
to maintain a stability in the management and the company.
Wonderful. Do not forget your employees. All right, Amir.
Okay, so for me, I think it's more of an inspiring story. So I think for myself, because I started from way at the bottom and, you know, for working very hard. So I think to all bakers out there who wants to start something, so I usually say you have to dream without fear. Because I feel that if you have the fear in you, you're not gonna step out from your comfort zone. And the second is once you already dream without fear, you have to be consistent. I think the word is consistent is very important. It's because you need the passion, but being consistent is very important because you might give up tomorrow or the day after, or today you might say, I want to do 10 cakes, and then tomorrow like tak apalah, just one would do, and things like that. So we tend to have that thinking. So I think that you have to be consistent. That word is very, very important because for myself, I've been very consistent in what I do. You know, I'm always giving 200% whatever that I do. Even by just doing a recipe book, you give like 200%, you get it ready, and you're so proud of what you have achieved. So I think being proud about yourself and, you know, having a mentor is also good. Surrounding yourself with good people, positive minds, because when you surround yourself with the right people that has the same mindset with you, you can go far. You know, I believe in that because you got to have the people around you that has the same vision, but probably not selling cakes, but having different kind of feel that really makes you happy. And you say that, you know what, tomorrow I'm going to do better. You know, like how we say that tomorrow let's do better, or every day, even though it's the same thing. You know, for example, doing the same cake, but you can always make it better even for the next year or 10 years down the road.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. Be consistent and keep the vibes good. Right? Amazing. All right. So Chef Lim, how about you?
Okay, about me, as a chef or entrepreneur or maybe the CEO, patient, okay, think out of the box, and then self-confident, and then hard work. I think could be everything going fine, and then your skill and your business also will be good. Always think out of the box, and then you have this kind of the character, confirm no problem with that.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much for everyone for being here. And for those of you, just give them a round of applause. Thank you so much to all the panelists for being here. All right, so for those of you at home and for those of you here, don't worry, we have another panel session after this. But we will be back soon, so stay tuned. Hi, everyone. So for our final panel discussion, we will be discussing ways to sustain and continue your startup business. So with the rise of cloud kitchens today in recent years, entrepreneurs have an additional option to scale up. So let's talk about it. For the next session, we are excited to welcome the one, the only, the host of Lima Rencah, Lima Rasa on TV3, a role he's held strongly for the past decade as they enter their 24th season this year, the celebrity chef, Sherson Lian, who has also hosted multiple TV shows on Asian Food Channel, Asian Food Network, including Great Dinners of the World. Welcome, Sherson. All right, next we have a former investment banker, Jonathan Waynes, founder of and CEO of Pop Meals, a food tech startup based in Malaysia. They currently operate Malaysia's leading omni-channel food brand with a network of smart outlets powered by data-driven food development and last-mile delivery technology. Pop Meals tech-enabled outlets are designed to serve 4 use cases, which are dine-in, takeaway or app ordering, online food delivery, and a cloud kitchen with virtual brands. So welcome, Jonathan Waynes. Welcome. Last but not least, we have the Chief Executive Officer of Youth Ventures Asia, which is a youth development company that accelerates the growth of youth in Southeast Asia with a technology-enabled ecosystem. Hanif Marzuki, who is also the co-founder of QTix, a mobile integrated queue management system, is one of the graduates of the first cohort of the Magic Accelerator program, and Eat This Asia, a food media company. Welcome, Hanif. All right, welcome, welcome, welcome. So before we start, I guess I just want to get your thoughts a little bit on the setup, right, for the current startup world in terms of the food and baking industry. So where do you think the industry is at now? And where do you think it's going to go?
I think moving forward next year, if we're looking at local trends, we're looking for something that is cheaper but more value, because we're heading for recession and there's a few uncertainties. I believe the consumer is looking for something cheaper. But if you are looking at the global trend moving forward at 5 years from the future, it's all about food technology. It's all about efficiency. It's all about data-driven, and it's all about healthy and nutrition. So, I mean, if you're planning in the short run, try to prepare a healthy and cheap menu, and in the long run, that can scale. Yeah.
All right, wonderful. I think that's a really good idea in terms of longevity. Also, it was something interesting that kind of stuck with me from the last panel session as well, which is this idea of, not chasing trends, but rather to kind of double down on your quality as well as your marketing and social media. And since we do have a social media sensation here, I do want to ask you, Sherson, the integral role of social media as a marketing tool in boosting food and beverage innovation, right? So we assume that social media is integral, but in terms of these things like boosting your food and beverage innovation, what do you think about the role of social media that social media plays in that?
I think we're living in a time where, putting your stuff out there is very easy. I started off when I was 8, 9 years old in my mom's cafe where, there was no such thing as Instagram, Facebook, or anything like that. So I think, but it's also overdone. Like, in a sense where everybody just thinks, snap a picture, put it up online, and, eyeballs will see. But what I think is important is, to identify what is it you're selling. It's to be clear with the messaging, to be clear with the product, because there's a ton of things out there. Like we were talking a lot on baking and different trends that are going on. So if the most of you here are also going to be baking, then imagine you're going to be snapping a picture of something, putting out there, and where a host of other people are also doing the exact same thing. So I think, pulling from what they said as well, having an identity is crucial. And I think giving a lot more thought into your product and seeing how it differs from, what other people are selling. Personal story, I didn't really focus on social media in the past 5 years. I was so busy with the brick and mortar and a restaurant that we have, and we were so busy doing caterings. Didn't really pay much attention to social media. I'm not a fan of trends, let me be the first to say, because I've always believed that trends come and go. I'm from the dinosaur age of F&B, where my parents would say, Sherson, word of mouth is the way to go. And, it is still going to be the way to go. And imagine now with social media, word of mouth, your hashtags, that is your word of mouth. People just hashtag, whatever, put it online. They're the people, if your product is good, people are doing this willingly and organically. And that is how I feel it should work. Of course, there's nothing wrong with, spending on ads and getting people to know your product. But your product must first speak on itself. Whatever you do outside of social media is a boost. If the product is no good, I've been to so many cafes whom I was inspired just by Instagram. I look at their stuff on Instagram, wow, so cool. I go to the shop, I go to the cafe, I leave feeling so disappointed because that's the thing. Social media is such a great tool now, but it's also blurring the lines of a lot of things that is important. You know what I mean? People think that they can start a cafe looks cool, put subpar food on, have great sight for pictures. So great phones take great pictures now, put it up online. It looks so good, but you go there, you consume it. Half the time you're not going back. I mean, statistically, 50% of restaurants don't last more than a year. 5 years, 70, 80% are closed down. You know, this is real. So as far as social media is great, it's a great tool. Don't get me wrong. I'm not dissing all over social media here. But what I'm emphasizing on is, yes, as important as it is, the product is speaks louder than anything else. Fact, there are a lot more successful warongs than there are cafes. And warongs don't have social media. You get what I mean? This is the reality check. I've been in F&B for a good 20 years. I've been through the dinosaur way, now learning to do it the young way with tech and data and all that. It's different. I'm still learning on that, but I want to say, pay attention to your food. Going into the recession, I think it's going to be, yes, you can create cheap, high value. I guess also you must identify your identity, coming back to that. If you're someone who is doing that cheap, high value, targeted mass, go for it. No wrong, no right. In the F&B business, I always say, mamas, they're doing a fantastic job. Not so cool, but hey, they're richer than some of us. And at the end of the day, it's all about making money, right? You know what I mean? So, but I think going into recession where people are going to be thinking twice before they spend, I think it's important to take a step back, look back into your product that you're currently putting out in the market or you're going to put out in the market, focus more attention on it and really, yeah, because you don't want to be putting subpar food when people are thinking twice of what they want to eat. You get what I mean? You want to make sure when they spend with you, it is their hard-earned money that they've thought about spending. And after spending it with you, they have this sense of, you know, it was worth it. Yeah.
I think that's beautiful as well, because in the rush of social media, I feel like lots of businesses feel the pressure to constantly produce content, right? You've got TikTok, you've got Instagram, you've got Facebook, you've got WhatsApp. And I think it's quite reassuring to hear that, you know, to refocus back onto the taste of the product. So I think that was a beautiful way of putting it. I think it's also quite helpful for those of us that are starting out, right? When you're first starting out, not all of us have the time and resources to, you know, like film this, TikTok this, and then Facebook that, because we're busy trying to run the business. And so I kind of want to ask, you know, you, Jonathan, about this as well. In terms of focusing your mind onto what are the critical issues that a new startup and food beverage company should focus on in the initial stage, especially if you have limited resources?
Yeah, I think it's I think that applies to any startup. So the core is really to just focus on your customers, right? Understanding who they are, right? What's the problem you're solving, or when it comes to food, I guess it's less of a problem, but more like maybe the pleasure you bring or the specific use case or you're serving, right? To really understand that, and then just dig as deep as possible. So that's something also we have been now quite for some time in the business, but we always try to remind ourselves to, you know, make time, just interview customers, speak to them directly, really just get to know them as well as possible. And I think that's probably the most important thing, in any business, but in food even more so. And because what you were saying, so it's easy. I mean, probably it's not easy, but it's in some way it can be done to create a lot of noise, right? But then the question is this based on fundamentals? Is this something that solves a real need and is sustainable for the long term, right? Because that's at the end of the day what I guess most of us want to build, right? Something that endures and brings joy to life of many people for a long time, and not just a fleeting moment.
I think, thank you so much for that. I think in terms of, how we can do that, how can we focus on our customers? If you have any tips, and that we're all ears as well about that, like what are the, maybe like I say 2 to 3 ways that you think that as an initial, when you first start out in terms of customers, what are the things you should look out for? What are the factors you should think and focus on in terms of customers?
Yeah, I think many people make it too complicated. And again, I've done this myself, way too much, too complicated. You think you need some scientific approach or something like that. At the end of the day, I think it's really about just taking the time to speak to the customers. And then I think the challenging bit in this is to ask the right questions, because especially if you meet people and maybe for friends or, the classic example is your mom, right? You ask your mom about her opinion. She will always be super encouraging, always say, oh yeah, it's fantastic. It tastes delicious. It looks amazing, right? Your mom doesn't want you to be sad. And so are most of your friends and many people you meet right there. So kind of to get really behind that and get people's real opinion can sometimes be challenging. So I think something I think that served us well is to ask very specific behavioral-based questions. So not ask, what would you do, kind of hypothetical things, but really ask, okay, what did you do yesterday, right? So I think the classic example there is like when it comes to eating healthy or being, going to the gym. You ask people, do you go to the gym? Everybody says, yeah, I go to the gym. But if you ask, okay, when was the last time you went to the gym? They say, sometimes people say, oh, I go every day, but then you ask, okay, did you go today? No, today I was busy. Did you go yesterday? Oh no, yesterday there was some event. Okay, did you go any time during this week? And you find out it's actually, the reality is different from, and it doesn't necessarily mean people don't want to tell you the truth or they don't, it can really just mean they don't know themselves. They have a certain image of themselves and they try to create that or defend that or be consistent with that, right? So so I think that's where the challenge comes in. But so therefore, I think what works well is to ask very specific situations, very evidence for behavior, right? And if you're selling something, I think it's obviously, in food it's quite straightforward, right? If you say, hey, would you like that donut, right? As we talked about donuts before, it's easy to say yes, but then the question is, okay, are you willing to pay, say, 5 ringgit or 10 ringgit for this donut? And if someone says yes, then say, oh, I have it right now here. Do you want to have it now? And do you have the money? And if they do this, then you have a real product. And if they don't, then you learn that you're not yet there, right?
Yeah, that's interesting as well. And not to just think of the customer in terms of, what they're seeing, the product in terms of customer service, but also thinking about how your pricing range will also be, something that, your customers can, support and buy into, right? I think that's a important thing to think about, especially for those who are starting out, to find that sweet spot, right? Between this is a product that is delicious and I enjoy making, and this is something that people enjoy eating, but are also willing to pay for, right? So I think that's pretty cool. And in terms of, I think, because we're talking a little bit about startups now, right? But what about those companies that are, growing, in terms of, right, you want to expand, you already have, you already have a business, you already been running it for 2 or 3 years, and then, you want to expand, right? So what are some of the factors that we could consider in terms of, making that leap into the expansion? So I think I would like to address this question to Hanif, but also I think if, since we have lots of experience between us also, we can have a discussion about it.
I think this is a very good question because the thing about home bakers is there's 2 types of home bakers or home-based entrepreneurs. There are one type in where they do it because that's their passion, or it's not a means to an end. So there's another type of home bakers that they do that for a living, and they ended up becoming like Gula Cakery, right? Opening up like about 13, 14 outlets. So first and foremost, you need to reflect back to why you start. Yeah. So if you start just because, you know, this is a good business, I can support my family, sometimes it doesn't necessarily need to scale, right? Sometimes it's good enough for you to serve your local community. But if you're building, you know, the next KFC, the next venture-backed billion-dollar business, then by all means, there's a lot of ways for you to actually expand. You know, you can go out and turn it into a venture-backed food and services company, just like, you know, Pop Meals, or you can just, you know, grow organically, open up from one restaurant, one cake shop to another cake shop like Gula, Cakery. There's a company called Monty Coffee. It's a coffee shop. Started off just small inside a university in UKM. And their scaling strategy is they scale from one university to another university. Started off at UKM, go to MSU, go to UPM. So you should reflect back on your strategy and reflect back on the value. What do you truly want to show within your product, right? And another thing is you should really consider available opportunities. For example, we at Eventures, we run a bi-monthly event called Lorong Belakang. So this it's a place where young people can actually come and start up business. The booth is very cheap, $20. And we have about 1,500 foot traffic every time we do Lorong Belakang. So we see a lot of smaller home bakers. They came to Lorong Belakang, open up 12 to 15 cakes, sold out. And we also see bigger bakers, like bigger cafes, just come to Lorong Belakang for brand awareness. So my point here is consider your options. Just because your product is a high-end product doesn't mean that, you know, you can't sell it at Pasar Malam. It's a matter of how you sell it at Pasar Malam, right? You can always find your customers. So I mean, that's it. Just consider and reflect back on your initial strategy. Why did you start the business? Yeah.
I like that. Thank you. I think that was that's a very beautiful way of looking at it as well. Because, you know, as Jonathan mentioned, I think a lot of people are looking for mathematical equations on how to, you know, scale up in order to do it. I think there's an entire book industry just built on it. 10 ways to be successful, you know, 10 ways to be a good baker. But I think self-reflection, looking inwards at your business, brand, knowing who you are, and then thinking about how to go forward is, you know, something quite amazing to think about as well. In terms of the same question, for the both of you, what do you think about it? Like in terms of what you should focus on when you want to upscale your business?
Yeah, I think the key is, or I guess there are many many aspects to this, but I think the first one, right? I think you mentioned this a little bit in terms of again, to my also previous point around knowing your customers, right, and understanding where they are and how you are serving them. So, and potentially you can do this in very interesting locations, right? And then so finding their system that allows you to serve that same experience that you were serving the first customers, kind of to replicate that. And I think that's typically, especially in F&B, is like one of the huge challenges, right? Yeah, there are many cases you might have an amazing recipe, and because you are preparing it, you put in all of the love and the passion, and then the moment you try to replicate it, it's just yeah, becomes very, very tough. And that's probably one of the big things to really watch out for, because otherwise you might scale very fast, and then yeah, eventually it breaks down, because again, to your previous point also, you know, returning customers is slowing down, and you don't know where the problem is, but eventually you will find out why, right?
Yeah, I completely agree. It's a lot of times as consumers ourselves, we go to a cafe or a restaurant. Oh, it's so good. The next time we hear about the restaurant opening 5-6 outlets, we go back. Oh, you know, not so good anymore. Yalla, you know. But I don't have an answer for you, honestly. I mean, because why? I tell you, you look at McDonald's, right? They have a company that's probably invested millions into making sure this doesn't happen, but yet it still happens, right? You walk in someday, oh, the fries is so good. You walk in the next day, oh my God, this thing was refried from yesterday. You know? So I can't, I don't have an exact answer for you because it's a road I've also not walked myself. But if that is a road you're going to walk, I'd say, like my brother just said, make sure you have, your recipes locked down. I think it's not just about looking for money. It's not just about looking for strategies, but it's back to protecting the main item itself. How would that handle the transition? How would your croissant be at the end of that line? Would it still be the same? Sure, you take 15%, all right, from original maker to expansion. But anything more than that, I think that's a huge problem.
I think I just want to add one thing. It's not, even for McDonald's, it's not the founder themselves that scale the business. It's some capitalistic guy came to him and offered up to buy and then scale. Yeah. So I think, again, should reflect whether you really do it for the passion, is to show people your food, or you do it for the money. Yeah. Nothing wrong in between.
Yeah, exactly. Nothing wrong.
All right, thank you. I think one of the things about when you talk about scaling up is also in terms of food delivery, right? So how have e-commerce and digital marketplace such as Grab impacted the food and beverage industry? So I think I'm going to leave this one open so we can all discuss it. So what do you think? How do you think these kind of e-hailing services, the delivery systems, how has it affected the industry?
I don't have very nice things to say about. Okay, let me put context into what I'm going to say. Okay, I come from, like I said, a dinosaur age of F&B, where, back then when somebody would ask me to spend on marketing, you'd be like, huh? Wow, it's a lot of money. Eh? It's my hard-earned money, how would you guarantee? So I come from that era. Right? And truth to be told, I'm still adjusting, yeah, and I'm still learning. But from a brick and mortar restaurant perspective, I think it's like, maybe for some it was great, but I think for majority of people, F&B operators whom we don't hear from, I think it was not necessarily a service that was it's just a means to survive the pandemic. Yeah, I feel they could have done a lot better in terms of their offerings towards F&B businesses that that needed, because they were the only revenue stream. They were only channel for revenue at that point in time. So I think they could have done better. Moving forward, Cloud's Kitchen and all that coming up, I think for small businesses who want to test out the market, I think it's great. It's a great facility. You don't have to invest all that much money just to test market. But there's no stopping any of you from testing market from your own home. And you get what I mean? It's a luxury. But I don't see that model going very, very far unless they relook into the models that they're offering people. I think, the high base rent, which is not very different from a brick and mortar outlet, is ridiculous. I think the high percentages that they take off F&B outlet, knowing that F&B makes a profit of at best 30% net. You know what I mean? And they take 28% or 30%. So I think that model has to really be looked back into before this thing can really see along wherever it's going to go. But yeah, that's just my opinion, please.
Yeah, maybe to share a bit. So because so actually I was part of the founding team of one of the food delivery marketplaces, right? So, and that was 2014. So for me, it's I think it's fascinating to see how the entire landscape in the industry has changed over the last now 8 years. And I feel like right now we are again at the changing point, inflection point. So in 2014 was really the early days. Like essentially you didn't have food delivery, right? It was like typically, I think in Malaysia here, there was a company called Room Service, which later got acquired, where typical order value was something like 150, 200 ringgit, right? You had like 30 ringgit delivery fees, etc. So crazy, really just serving, less than 1,000 orders or so. Hopefully that's correct. Per day, right? So really just focus on kind of like the top 1% income household, right? In KL, right? But this company was profitable, right? So they were making money. This business model worked, and obviously in the last 8 years, we entered a time where like there's just so much capital in the markets. So a lot of these marketplaces got heavily subsidized through a lot of venture capital money, which in the end means it was fantastic for consumers, right? It means free delivery, 50% off, etc. Right? Also, from an operator point of view, like F&B operator, right? I guess many of us benefited because we had like fully funded campaigns from the like of Grab or Food Panda, right? Where they give 50% discount, they pay for that, etc. And at the starter, that's good for the business, right? I think now, obviously, with the pandemic and post-pandemic, capital and a rising interest rate, right? So capital has been now much more restricted. So a lot of these guys are really looking at, okay, what are my unit economics? Does the business actually work, right? And if you look at a lot of the marketplaces, or essentially all of the marketplaces in Malaysia right now, none of them is anywhere close to making money themselves, right? As much as we operators, right, we hate the commission rates, which are crazy, right? What many people forget, these guys are also bleeding money, right? So that's I think that's on one hand, also something quite it's almost scary because you don't know where it's going to get. And I think the last 6 months, at least from our perspective, we have seen a lot of changes in terms of how the platform's trying to monetize, right? Trying to increase commission rates, trying to charge the vendors, the operators for marketing fees. No more fully funded campaigns since a while, right?
You were one of the lucky few, I think.
we were also a bit, in terms of our own brand, we were like a bit too late to jump on that bandwagon, but I know many brands have massively benefited from that, right? Yeah, now also I think from a consumer point of view, you see rising delivery fees, significantly slowing delivery times, etc. Right? So I think for me, what's really curious to see is how the next 2 or 3 years are looking in that part. So I think it will be probably more that brands will have to, be omni-channel, go figure out other ways of delivery, obviously cutting reliance or dependencies on marketplaces as a channel, right? And yeah, generally, I think that's heavily changing the landscape. In terms of cloud kitchens, to define cloud kitchens, right? I guess we're talking a bit about more the real estate part where you just move into a property, and you purely sell on delivery. I think that's going to be tough, because from our own experience, we moved heavily into being visible to customers. Customers can come into your outlet and buy food on the counter, which typically has way better margins than if you do delivery anyway, right? So that's more how I see the near future, next 5 years, I guess.
All right, I'm very glad I asked this question. I guess the conclusion would be from this side of the bench is that there needs to be more work done in terms of innovating this space in the future to improve. But before we end, because we're out of time actually, but just one very quick answer the same question to Hanif. What do you think?
I think the food delivery technology services is still in its infant stage. Right. So right now, the industry needs to adopt to the technology. Eventually, the technology needs to adopt to the best practice of the industry itself. Understanding how to deliver high quality goods, understanding how to reduce the cost, understanding how to make a business without damaging the restaurant itself. So if you take a look back at the ride hailing, right, because although it's similar, but it's not the same. So ride hailing have their own issues when they start out. Right, they have issues with taxi drivers. Then the policymaker needs to come in to try to fix the thing. Right. I think one of the biggest issue that we have right now is all of these services and all of this technology. It does not originate from Southeast Asia. It originates from, for example, America or UK. So when these companies scale to Southeast Asia, the way we do things is a bit different. Right, the way we appreciate food is a bit different specifically, right? So even if you look at Uber, they came into Malaysia and then after a while they got acquired by Grab, right? So I think one of the most important thing right now is the technology owner needs to adopt to the industry's best practice. And right now the industry needs just to wait because it will happen. Technology will move forward, delivery will get cheaper. Right now in Cyberjaya, they are testing out drone delivery. They are testing out like self-driving cars. So we might see that in the next 15 years. So, you know, I think the best advice is like survive in 15 years. That's it. Right.
I'll see you then.
All right. I think that was a perfect last thing. Thank you so much. We are done with the panel discussion. Unfortunately, we have no time for Q&A. For those of you who do want to ask questions, we can ask your questions after the event. And for those of you online, you can post it in the comment section. We'll get back to you as soon as possible. We will be back soon with a special cooking demonstration from Sherson. But in the meantime, bye everyone.
We are Anchor Food Professionals, one of the world's leading dairy food service companies and part of the New Zealand-based Fonterra cooperative made up of 10,000 farming families. We've been creating dairy goodness as nature intended for 150 years and will continue to do so for many more to come. In New Zealand, our cows graze on lush green grass with fresh air, plenty of rainfall and abundant sunshine. A more natural farming system combined with the care we give to the environment means we have one of the lowest on-farm carbon footprints in the world. Now, more than ever, sustainability is hugely important. Your customers care about the origin of the products they're consuming and their impact on the environment, animals and society. The genuine care of our dedicated New Zealand farmers makes our cows amongst the best cared for cows in the world. Our own grass-fed and cared-for cows standards are independently certified each year. We believe our cows' way of living makes them happy, contributing to the nutritious and delicious milk they produce. Sustainable dairying is at the heart of how we farm in New Zealand, helping create the high-quality milk our customers know and love. Our high-performing products are used to create inspiring recipes that delight consumers all around the world. Our collaborative approach, rich dairy history and anchor expertise gives you the assurance that our products are designed for high-quality performance and that our New Zealand dairy is made with care for the land, people and animals. When care meets performance, that's where the goodness happens. It's why we're here, serving up inspiration every day. We are Anchor Food Professionals, one of the world's leading dairy food service companies and part of the New Zealand-based cooperative Fonterra. Our food service passion and expertise is global. We strive every day to provide food professionals around the world the ingredients for success that come from our innovative dairy and business know-how. With over 100 years of Anchor dairy expertise behind us, we're focused on designing the highest quality dairy products for each and every customer and their needs. Quality and product performance always comes first, but we know that how our products are used differs for local tastes and food styles. We understand these varying needs because of our on-the-ground experience in over 50 markets. That's our global expertise and local insight in action, finding the best solution for you, your kitchens and your customers, delighting them with the tastes, appearances and textures they love. Our hero product range comes from New Zealand with the classic dairy taste, style and quality you expect. We complement this with a selection of quality dairy products made in other countries offering you a portfolio of choices in style and functionality to meet your needs. Our European-style creams offer a lighter colour and flavour. Just one example of how we create the perfect choices for you and your customers. Of course, wherever our products come from, they're produced to our world-class quality standards. We're proud to work with chefs and business partners across the globe, shoulder to shoulder in their kitchens. It's how we make sure we're always offering what you need to grow your business and delight your customers. That means you can have confidence we'll always deliver innovative solutions, outstanding services and inspirational products that are tailored to the styles and tastes that you and your customers seek. It's why we're here, serving up inspiration every day.
All right, we're back for our last session of this event. Let us give us a round of applause for the one and the only Sherson Lian to join us for a live cooking demonstration. Yes, Sherson, what are you up to?
All right, so today we're making a very, very simple recipe. So simple because of a couple of reasons. Number one, we are actually not allowed to cook here. So when they ask me to do a cooking demonstration, they say, oh, but you cannot cook. I'm like, then make salad. But then got client, anchor, cheese and cream. Like how to make salad with mozzarella. So anyway, and plus I sort of hurt my thumb, so I'm a bit awkward. So pardon me if, I move a bit funny. So the dish we're making is mac and cheese. And we're making mac and cheese not just in a microwave, but also, it was, sounded a lot better in my head when we actually had a mug that we could use, like mac and cheese in a mug. But now we're using a bowl. It's like, not so cool. Anyway, but we're still doing mac and cheese, right? So we have got macaroni here. This is just, obviously, the smaller the macaroni, the faster it's going to cook in the microwave. All right, so it's a quick fix meal. I just did this recipe today because you asked me 5 years ago, would you make anything in the microwave? Would you cook in the microwave? I'm like, what? No, come on, please. Cook proper food, And now I have to eat my own words. And I tried it out for my kids there. They were like, so nice, Daddy. So nice. So yeah, but we're also going to be serving this mac and cheese with a little bit of smoked duck. For those of you who do not take bacon, I no longer feel sorry for you anymore because smoked duck is the next best thing. It has enough fat in itself that is almost similar to the fat that bacon has. Yeah, so smoked duck, if you're making pastas, if you're making aglio olio, anything that you are trying to look for replacement for your bacon, smoked duck is the way to go. Yeah. So what we're going to do is we're just going to slice it quite nice and thin, sort of like your bacon bit size, and this sort of goes here, and we're going to be crisping it up inside the microwave, or at least try. Okay, so this takes the longest, and okay, so you reset now. Microwave 600, 500, 200, 900. There we go. Time. So this takes about 6 minutes, I'd imagine. So we'll interval it to every 2 minutes. Then we'll stir it up a little bit here and there. Okay, so while that's going on, here I have about half a cup of macaroni, and this is about 3/4 cup of water. It's regular water. Fantastic, isn't it? Don't even have to waste time boiling water to boil your pasta. Like really, you know, it's wow. And to think I'm a chef, celebrity chef, Konon, learn from a YouTuber. See, these are the things that, you know, that we need to adapt to. People like me. If you can relate, then you need to adapt as well. This thing is smoking. It's not going to explode, right? Check. All right, no. It's all right. It's good. So it's things like that we need to adapt. You know, I realized that, look, I need to adapt. I need to start having my guard down of so-called being a chef and being a celebrity chef. Sometimes you can learn things from YouTube, from nobody even. It doesn't matter. As long as someone's got something to teach, it's worth an ear, you know, to listen to. And today I found something fantastic. Love it. My kid's going to love it even more. Right. So a little bit onion powder. Yeah. Paprika. This is completely optional. Paprika is nice. Helps with the color a little bit. And also a nice smoky taste to it. Okay. How are you doing? All right. It's good. Like this amount of smoke, guys, is not going to trigger a smoke alarm, is it? I don't know. I'm scared. This was supposed to be easy. Anyway, in goes macaroni. This goes in as well. 2 minutes. Okay, I think I do what? No, I'll take out the smoked duck and call it quits there. Usually it would, well, I recommend it to be a bit more crisp. You know, if you do it on a pan, I just don't want the smoke alarm to go off, so I will stop right there with the smoked duck.
Don't worry, it looks delicious.
Well, not quite there yet, but thank you. You're very kind.
I like duck. It's one of my favorite things in the
Yeah?
world. Yeah. I'm one of those people who can't eat pork.
You're one. Oh, right.
Mm.
Okay. So, what? So what happens when you multitask? Like you can't. Oh, right. Yeah, right. Sorry, it's so bad. Sherson, get a
What is
grip.
that? Is
All
that
right.
butter?
So what I'm doing is I am melting some butter. Okay, and this melted butter is going to be the butter that would help crisp or give our mac and cheese a bit more texture. Yeah, so we're doing 3 things in the microwave today. We've stopped trying to crisp up the duck just so that the event can carry on. We're cooking the pasta inside, and we're also going to be browning our breadcrumbs. You know, mac and cheese, I'm a textural person. I love texture. If you can do this when you think of your food, right? Think of the elements, the textural elements. I think the more you can incorporate into your food, it's never bad. You know, like I'm one of those people whom I always need something crunchy inside. Like even if I'm sick, I'm eating porridge, I would take like, you know, your cream cracker, break it inside, or take like keropok mami, break it inside, just so that, you know, it's not one-dimensional in terms of textures. Right?
I'm more of an egg person.
Yeah,
Yeah. I like chewy things. I don't like things that are crunchy.
you're an egg person, but you like chewy things. How do you cook your egg?
I like it solid. Solid.
Solid,
egg.
okay.
Yeah. Deep
So you're-
boiled? Is that what you call it?
Yeah, solid
Boiled.
is like deep boiled.
Deep boiled. Yes, that one.
Because I thought, you know, a lot now on social media, you know, that onsen egg thing, you break it down, the thing oozes out. I mean, that is an Instagram goal. Right? Okay, so what we do after 2 minutes, take it out, give it a bit of stir. See, that's what I mean about awkward hands. Sorry, pardon me. Back in there, another 2 minutes. Where we are. Adjust. Really? All right, 2 more minutes. All right, great. There we go. So that will go another 2 more minutes. The butter is almost melted out. We'll wait for that a little bit more. Then we'll add the breadcrumbs in. We'll stir everything together. Then we'll chuck the breadcrumbs back in.
All right.
All right. If there are any questions, I take. Any questions at all? Since just now tak sempat nak Q&A, right? Ni lah masa dia. No questions? All right, butter is fully melted. Fantastic.
Beautiful.
Breadcrumbs goes in. Give the breadcrumbs a good mix. Now, the breadcrumb needs fat. If not, it's just going to turn black. Yeah, the fat is the one that's going to prevent it from burning out and also crisping it up real nice. Oh, see, Talk. Forgot. We're supposed to add butter inside the mac and cheese too. Okay. Go. Kenapa korang gelak? I forget things too sometimes. Yeah. So if we were to take this recipe, this as a base recipe, right? But I'd imagine there's so much more we can do out of this base recipe. Like, for instance, I made a serunding mac and cheese because we had a series of content on our YouTube where we repurpose Hari Raya leftover foods. So we're taking like, kuah kacang, common stuff that people constantly have as leftovers at home. And during Hari Raya, instead of, eating leftover food, wow, we've got 5 minutes. Every time she put that up, I get nervous. Even from just now, I'm like, yo, 5 minutes left, faster lah. You see, if I had like a stove, would be done already. Yeah, pasta is almost cooked.
Okay.
Okay. Now, what we're going to go in with is mozzarella, 3 different kinds of cheese, cheddar. Okay, cheddar can go a little bit more. It's nice and salty. Parmesan cheese. Ooh. Yeah, good. No? Cream. Once again, give everything a good mix. Now, it doesn't look great right now. At one point, the time when I was testing this out, I was like, sure, no, I can believe or not. It looks like a blob because when your mozzarella cheese goes in, it just starts to melt. Like you see, look at that. It doesn't look like mac and cheese at all. But wait, wow, anchor cheese, very good. All right, so this goes back in for another 2 minutes. Come on, 2 minutes. All right, there we go. So that was sitting there for another 2 minutes. The breadcrumbs are coming on nicely, hopefully. And once that's done, we'll just plate up, serve everything together, and that's done. So coming back to what I said, pastas now that you can cook pasta in the microwave is a very simple way how. If you're making like pasta salads for your kids to go to school, it's a great way, without having to mess up your kitchen too much, nak cuci periuk lah, nak this lah, nak that lah, you know what I mean? And now you also know you don't have to, if you want to go in and compete with pasta lah, you don't have to go and buy dapur. Microwave dah cukup. Just kidding. But yeah, it's convenient. I think now let me side plug in a little bit, yeah, given that this is a part where we're all, talking about food and how small businesses, startup, big boys, whatever. I think if we can somehow start paying closer attention to our local stuff, not just say using local flavors to infuse with mat salleh food like your croissant and all that kind of stuff, which is great. I mean, I've got nothing against them. I'm fully for them. But here's what I struggle to accept is that we would pay $12 for a croissant. Maybe is it $12? $8 to $12, depending on what you fill it with, right? But we will complain when the makcik jual kuih $2.5. Now, there's something fundamentally wrong. You know what I mean? How is it our local food? I know this is sidetracking from whatever we're talking about, but for those of you who are starting new businesses, maybe this could be an idea. Right, 4 seconds. How would our local food ever go anywhere? Because, all right, time, check. Because the makcik punya anak, if you're going to complain that she sells her kuih at $2.50, how much money is she actually going to be making? And if she's not making money, how do you think, who is going to be the ones to continue the legacy of the char kway teow, for example? The kuih, for example. Char kway teow, hawker food now is going up in prices, right? And people are starting to complain. But here's the thing, it needs to go up in price, so that the people that come after them can see that there is a future in continuing our identity as Malaysians in food. If not, everyone's going to start selling pastas. Everyone's going to start selling croissants. Who is going to continue to make our Sri Muka? Who's going to continue to make our Onde Onde? Who's going to continue to make all these things that has given us an identity of being a food haven? No one. Something to think about, guys. Now this is done. Let me finish up. Okay, now this will thicken up in a little while because the amount of cheese that's in there. And then you get to serve it as, some people like it a little bit runnier. Some people like it full on like kueh. I cannot. I don't like it too thick. So, you know, a little bit runny, you can eat longer. And the thing about serving mac and cheese is this. We notice this when we serve like carbonara at the restaurant. We always make it a little bit more wet because by the time it gets to the consumer, when they eat, if you make it, so this is science as well. The science of the user experience from the time you set it out of your kitchen, it doesn't mean that the food quality stops there, remains. It continues to deteriorate until the point it reaches the customer. So there's that part as well that you have to consider as well. So we always make our mac and cheese or our carbonara a little bit more on the wet side, just so that when the time the consumer eats it, it's still nice and moist. And even halfway through the meal, it still stays nice and moist. It doesn't become like cake, if you know what I mean. Yeah, that's disgusting. Wait, breadcrumbs. Okay, breadcrumbs in here. Quick stir. Good. We give this another 2 minutes and we should be good to go. All right. So as you can see, it's already starting to thicken up. Yeah, and it doesn't look like, you know, your string of the blob of cheese as it was earlier on. Yeah, so give this a minute to rest. Parsley. Can put anything on it. Parsley, rockets. Rockets are great with things like mac and cheese. Nice and peppery. Okay, that little bit is done. Now we're just waiting on that. Any questions, guys? No questions? Later a side topic to God knows what some more. Now, but show of hands, how many of you have already a business going on? Started. 6 months in? Yeah? No? 1 year in? 2 years? Fantastic. Great. Well, for me, at one point, I'll share a personal story talking about when Jonathan was talking about, you know, understanding your consumers and how we overthink it, right? And sometimes the simplest way is just, hey, how you know, did you enjoy your meal? You know, just start a conversation from there and take it forward. Like I have a regular customer. Regular customers are great. You know, they're the reason why I have survived pandemic is because we have had a pool of regular customers that that support. So it took us a bit of time to build that pool of regular customers, and now it's at a point where it's sizable enough. I do not exactly need new customers in order to be profitable, but if there is, great. So we're constantly working on it, right? Oh, goodness. Well, charred. What they call it now? Charred.
Chart or serunding.
Right, so this is done. It's time for us to plate up. Okay, so what I was saying about earlier was we have this one very, very difficult customer. Like, you would not imagine. We make a pasta salad for some special occasions and we put celery in there because, you know, celery is nice, right? One day, at one of the events that she was there, she complained. She said, your celery, not green enough. I'm like, huh? So this is the level of difficult customers that we deal with. You know what I mean? Your celery isn't green enough. I mean, and we're like, what? Are we supposed to exactly take just the green parts and serve you? What about the rest? You know what I mean? But I always tell my business partner, we say, you know, Sherson, I tell him, Johnny, if we can appease our most difficult customer, right, chances are everyone else would be fine. You know, so Don't just listen to people who tell you good things about what you cook. Find those who tell you the worst about what you put on the table. And that's how you get better. Because those around you in Malaysia, especially in Malaysia, when it comes to food, we're liars. All the time. Always ask you, macam mana? Oh, sedap. Oh, semua sedap. Masuk dalam kereta, mana boleh makan? Apa benda lah dia? Kata celebrity chef. Pui, kan? But yeah, find the most difficult customer you can and have a relationship with that person, and you'll be amazed towards the insights that they will be able to give you into your business. Yeah. Okay, a little bit of charred breadcrumbs. Sorry, I was busy talking. And yeah. Now you can jazz it up with, if you want to serve high-end, shave truffles on. Medium truffle oil enough. I mean, this is a very simple base recipe that can be done in the microwave. I took a little bit longer because I was talking a lot. But anyway, thank you so much, guys, for being here. Thank you for having me, Anchor and the Star. Really appreciate being out here. Hope you guys have taken something from one of these amazing people back home to put into your business plan. But thank you once again.
Thank you so much. Louder. One more round of applause for Sherson. All right. All right. Thank you so much, Sherson, for your insightful cooking tips. All right. We are going to wrap up the event just a little bit, but there are a few things that we're going to go through before the end. So perhaps, Sherson, I think you've more than earned a rest.
A rest. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Thank you so much again, Sherson. And also for sharing all of your experience before in the panel discussion. I think it was very meaningful and also entertaining for a lot of us today. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have almost come to the end of the Bake and Make 4.0 event. On behalf of Star Media Group and Kuali, I would like to thank our sponsor, Anchor Food Professionals, speakers, panelists, once again for joining us in making this event program a great success. Thank you. Just give them another round of claps. Thank you so much. Without them, I would just be here with an oven. And also just a fun reminder for everyone as well, for you here, right? Do spare your time to scan the QR code that will appear right behind me and answer some survey questions for those on ground. So bear in mind what Sherson just said, right? We don't want you to lie. Please tell us the truth on your survey forms. And then once you're done with the survey, just screenshot it, and then you can go downstairs to our registration booth where you came in, and then you can then take your goodie bags. And for those who are also online, don't worry, we didn't forget you. Like I mentioned earlier, the first 150 to fill up the feedback form will receive several exclusive vouchers from us. So stay with us until the end. And with that, the Bake and Make 4.0 is officially a wrap. We sincerely hope that you have enjoyed and benefited from this hybrid seminar produced by Events Business Unit of Star Media Group. Give them a round of applause. So if you need any assistance from us, please do email us at events@thestar.com. Once again, my name is Myra Baiti and I'm signing out. Thank you. And we look forward to hosting you again at the next Star Media event. Bye. Hello. Hi everyone. So good news, we've got lunch for you. So for those of you who want to have some lunch, we can head out. There's lunch provided in front. And then